We're back. You're listening to the Red Book Show right here on Wexford New People's Movement Radio. I think Jim Billy Bob Ray is gone now and Steve is back. I'm glad to have you back, Steve.
It's really me. Yeah.
That other American guy who was getting really rough, he was threatening to put a claw on me. We're joined in studio now by the legendary Dahi Kavanagh, who will be interviewing very, very, very soon. The legendary Dahi Kavanagh. I had to bring him in early just in case Steve attacked me again. So we have a couple of text messages in. JJ has got in touch and said, love that Wally binge watches their Kardashians. Who is his favourite character? My favourite Kardashian is, I can't say it on air actually. I don't know their names, but you probably know what I mean, JJ. Was one of them in a? I don't know. I actually don't know who the Kardashians are. I'm just. Steve, who's your favourite Kardashian?
I only watched the show once, so I don't really remember. I like the Kardashians that were in Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I prefer them as well. Lots happening in Wexford this week. Tomorrow night, Pippa will be holding the Creature feature double bill in Red Books Underground from 7 p.m. We had a great time last month for the inaugural one where she showed two back to back. We had the Blob and the Blob remake, which was really good. I had seen neither of them before. On Thursday night in Red Books Underground, we have the launch of Horror Hot Takes by Aaron Doyle at 7 p.m. And there's also a public meeting on the Universal Basic Income in Eclectic Avenue that night. I know Dahi Kavanagh would like that. And on Friday night then, right here in Red Books in St. Peter's Square, we have the Driftwood Sessions for the best of original music. And keep in mind, everybody, that Otherworld Science Fiction Festival is coming to Wexford from the 25th to the 28th of June. There's going to be a lot of writers, filmmakers, cosplayers, anything kind of sci-fi, fantasy, horror related coming to the town all around it for that weekend. So put it in your calendar. Now, we weren't able to link up with our roving reporter Jamie T. Murphy this week. Unfortunately, our link has failed, but he has sent in a fax. Tony got a fax on the fax machine there, and I'm just going to read it out to you now. Hi Wally, I'm here at the forecourts. Apparently there has been a spate of WhatsApps going around posing as Jerry the Hutch. The texts are reported to say, how you head, Hutch here, I need a few quid to get back to Spain. Local heads have responded and given Revolut. Turns out it was actually Jerry the Crutch posing as Hutch. I couldn't get Jerry Hutch for comment, but Jerry the Crutch has been at this for years. He was most recently caught for trying to claim off a work accident from a company he never worked for. And then the fax mysteriously cuts out. So, as always, our thoughts and prayers are with Jamie T. Murphy. Thank you for bringing the real news to us, Jamie. Now, we'll be linking up with Dahi in a second. But before that, Steve, last week you started a new feature here called Steve's Craic Karaoke, and it has nothing to do with crack cocaine, although some people thought it was certainly something to do with that. But your singing by Steve has got rave reviews since, so you're going to do another one tonight.
I'm going to do another one and tell a quick story first. This next song originated when I was in mid-Missouri at Mizzou, University of Missouri in Columbia, Missouri, and some friends and I, we went to a concert in Kansas City, and we saw the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and they were just so raucous. They were so amazing. Their musicianship was so perfect. And the thing that really impressed me, I couldn't believe I was watching this and hearing this, is in the middle of the concert, they said, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate now. They rotated like a volleyball team. So the drummer went and played the organ player went and played the bass guitar went and played the lead guitar, and they just did that for about 20 minutes, like through 3 or 4 songs. I'd never seen anything quite like it. I was just amazed. And so this live concert was so good, I come back and I had the live double album of Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and so one of the songs is called Cosmic Cowboy, and this is one that I love to do. Brings out the real Missouri in me. I'm Irish now, but this is the Missouri side of me coming out with this song. So I guess we're ready to go.
Brilliant. We've been waiting for this, Steve.
Merry-go-rounds and burial grounds, they're all the same to me. Horses on posts and kids and ghosts, spirits we'd like to set free. Them city slicker pickers got a lot of slicker licks than me. But riding the range and being strange is where I want to be. And I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. I just want to ride and rope and hoot. Woo-hoo. Well, I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. A supernatural country rockin' galoot. Well, skinny dipping, Lone Star sipping, and steel guitar. Bow, 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 bow. And then boogie woogie bars. I'm gonna buy me a vest and I'll head out west, woman and myself. And when we come to town, the people gather round, marvel at my little baby's health. And I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. I just want to ride and rope and shoot. Woo-hoo. Well, I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. A supernatural country rockin' galoot. Big raccoon and a harvest moon keep running through my mind. And I got me home, low play and sometimes hard to find. So don't bury me on the lone prairie, I'd rather play there live. Well, I'm doing my best to keep my thumb in the west, my little Paco in overdrive. And I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. I just want to ride and rope and shoot. Woo-hoo. Well, I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. I'm talking about a supernatural country rockin' galoot. And up is not the way I want to shoot. I just want to ride and rope and shoot. Well, I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. A supernatural country rockin' galoot. I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. And rope and hoot. Woo-hoo. Well, I just want to be a cosmic cowboy. A supernatural country rockin' galoot.
Oh. Yeehaw, Steve. A bit of Jim Billy Bob Ray coming through there, I think.
I think so, yeah. I can imitate him too, so.
Well done, Steve. I was waiting for Dahi to go in and do backing vocals there. that was great. Big up to Steve Unicky, as always. A man who's prepared to come on local radio and sing without much practice. So that's great, Steve. Well done. Thanks for that. And that was the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
The Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
And Steve was amazed that no one else has heard of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band but him. But
yeah,
they don't seem to be as big in
they're
Wexford.
amazing musicians. They sort of tamed themselves down quite a bit by like the last 20 or 30 years. They used to just be totally on the edge of country rock music. Beautiful music they played. Yeah.
Well, that is great. Now we're moving on to a new feature. Now, Steve.
Okay, I'm going to change gears here.
We're gonna go dark. We're gonna go really dark, and maybe Dahi will be able to join us on this as well. We're gonna start a new segment of the show called Book Mysteries. Now, this was the point where we would have played something like the X-Files theme, but we've no coverage in here, so the phone won't work. So maybe Steve will do some
more classical music.
Dramatic music.
Okay.
So
the only song from Missouri I know is the one was attached to the film about the Missouri boat ride. I wish I was in the land of cotton.
Oh, that's Dixie. Yeah. Some parts of Missouri, they sing that song. Yeah. In Nevada and Little Dixie, big time. Yeah.
So, on the very first segment of Book Mysteries, we're going to talk about a man who's credited with being the forefather of both detective fiction and, by some, science fiction. Certainly a huge figure in Gothic fiction, a pioneer of the American short story, and a central figure in the Romanticism. And that is Edgar Allan Poe. So on October 3rd, 1849, 40-year-old Edgar Allan Poe was found delirious and dishevelled at a tavern in Baltimore. He was talking all sorts of nonsense, and he was wearing somebody else's clothes. He was taken to Washington College Hospital, where he was treated for apparent alcohol intoxication. Poe had no visitors and gave no account of how he came to be in such condition, and he died 4 days later. Now, that is the official narrative of the death of Edgar Allan Poe. But there's many other theories that he did have some visitors and that other people were involved in his death.
I had a few experiences like that with alcohol. Fortunately, I didn't die.
Outside heaviness. Now, Poe was a troubled individual. He was a genius, but he was an extremely troubled individual, and he was known to use alcohol and various drugs to treat his visions. He had apparently recovered from a cholera attack in the summer of 1849 and was planning on getting married to his second wife. But he went missing from the 27th of September to the 3rd of October when he was found outside that bar. For years, people surmised that Poe, in fact, there's an idea in the collective unconscious that Poe committed suicide. It's a big idea, actually, but a lot of people have thought that Poe, well, I guess, did kill himself in a way by just drinking himself to death.
Well, Poe had a very chaotic life, kind of like many people have today. Broken family, precarity, in the economic sense, lack of secure identity. He was talented beyond measure, but unable to secure a livelihood from that talent. So his chaos that was in his life is all so familiar to us in this day and age. Mm-hmm. And his death seemed to almost be like the final chapter. Mm-hmm. So, and yeah,
there's a lot of reasons why people might think it was suicide. A year before his death, Poe had nearly killed himself from an overdose of laudanum, a painkiller. But he always maintained that he was just trying to treat his visions and he had no intention of killing himself. And there's a lot of theories about what happened to Edgar Allan Poe, from alcoholism to diabetes to syphilis to epilepsy to lead poisoning and cholera and tuberculosis. And then there's another theory. Was Edgar Allan Poe the victim of Cooping? So in the 19th century, especially around cities like New York, there was a process called Cooping where gangs would go out and kidnap victims, lock them in a room, which they called the coup, and dose them with drink and various drugs, and then set them loose to vote in multiple vote stations around the city. Now, usually they would do it with just random people and working class people. They wouldn't do it with somebody who would be as well known as Edgar Allan Poe, but it is possible that Poe was picked up by somebody who didn't recognise him, and that's why he was wearing somebody else's clothes when he was eventually found. Are you familiar with Cooping, Dahi? Did you ever do any
No,
Cooping?
no, but it's an interesting discussion because I often thought about this. We in the 60s we kind of thought we invented the modern world,
Yeah.
and it was already there in the 1800s. You know, drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Maybe not rock and roll. The can was all there. Like, and I mean, if you take Paris for instance, in the 1800s, the Moulin Rouge and all. I mean, it was ahead of anything we done in the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
Especially in Ireland in the
Yeah,
60s.
you know, we actually thought we invented sex. The funny thing is, we actually had less sex after the 60s than they were having before that. When you look at the families that grew up in Wexford, you know, so it's a very interesting question, and I find the 1800s a very interesting period, like you know,
Yeah,
and
I do as
fantastic
well.
writers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, Poe was certainly one of them. There is another theory that Poe may have had rabies, and this comes from a nurse who treated him in those final days. She maintained that when he entered hospital, he was sweating heavily, he was hallucinating, shouting at imaginary companions, which wasn't unusual for Edgar Allan Poe, really. But he refused water. He vigorously refused water, and that seems to be a classic sign of rabies. Which probably wouldn't be in this.
Why do people refuse water with rabies?
There seems to be an issue that their throat is often very raw, and they because they're hallucinating and everything, to get an idea into their head that they're going to choke on it. But they're seeing it. I know it's been blown out of proportion now in kind of pop culture that people with rabies are somehow afraid of water. I don't really think it's that type of fear, but it is known as a way of detecting it. There's also another aspect to this mystery. For over 60 years after Poe's death, an anonymous figure known as the Poe Toaster visited his grave every January the 19th to leave behind 3 roses and a bottle of cognac, which Edgar Allan Poe would have greatly appreciated had he been alive, I'm sure. Do you know anything about the Poe Toaster?
I've heard something about that. Don't know a lot about that.
Yeah, we have a message in from JJ who says the Poe was a record-holding swimmer. That's interesting. I think he might have won a few medals in the community games. JJ, get back to us if you know anything about
Swimming yesterday.
Yeah. 26 years after the death of Poe, his body was exhumed for reburial. By this stage, he had become a bit of a name, and they decided he needed a bigger memorial. There wasn't much left but bones. But when they lifted him, there was a rattling inside the skull. And local papers at the time reported that Poe had been such a genius that his brain hadn't disappeared but simply shrunk. Now that's impossible, of course.
Yeah.
But one thing that wouldn't fully disappear is a tumour, which would calcify. So there is a theory that Edgar Allan Poe died and actually lived for a very long time with a brain tumour. And that brain tumour may, in fact, in some bizarre way, have contributed to his genius just by the amount of visions and terrible times.
Yeah.
And Poe did have a terrible time. He hated going to bed at night. He said he just couldn't handle the dreams and the fever visions he would have. So
That's pretty interesting.
That is an interesting theory. Any of you listeners out there who have any theories or information regarding the death of Edgar Allan Poe, it's not Crime Watch, but if you know anything about it,
it's Unsolved Mysteries.
Send us a message on WhatsApp at 086 322 0546. That's 086 322 0546.